everyone, welcome back to the Better Coder, where you learn to code better. So today what we're gonna do is like if you're a part of my Python series, today you are gonna write some code. You might when you last series episode, you might have seen that we installed the applications such as Python and VS Code locally in a local desktop, so we can access them anytime without going to any browser or such thing. We can just access them directly instead of anything. So now what we're gonna do is like you might ask download it, but when are we gonna or where are we gonna write the code or the first program? You might ask. So that's what we're gonna do today. Are you excited? So let's start. So what am I gonna do is like make a folder first in the desktop so I don't clutter everything. So I'll just make a folder and name it first program. One more. So now what you're gonna do is like open my command prompt. Now then cd desktop, navigate to a desktop. Now as you can see we have this folder as first program. Now we're gonna navigate to that cd first program. It's not really complicated. Cd is like change directory from moving one folder to another folder inside it. It's not really complicated. Now when you have installed VS Code, if you have clicked on the option for add to path, it will be good. Now what you're gonna do is, since we are inside the first program folder, we are just gonna type code, Visual Studio Code, just the code and space and a period. Now let's wait. It'll open up the VS Code without opening the folder manually. It'll just do everything so fast. That's why most people use CLIs. I mean, it's the best way to start out with development, and moreover, CLI applications are a lot lightweight, and very fast than others. So as you can see, we have now come inside our first folder inside VS Code. Now what we're gonna do is make a file for writing our program. Now let's say I'm writing some a code for Windows, so it will have the extension of .bat. Now if I'm running a file, it will be .exe. Since it's executable, they don't have any extension since they're executable by default. You just have to change the mod into executable format. And same goes for other things, I guess. Like if you wanna unzip a file, it'll always have .zip extension. Otherwise you can't unzip it. It's for Windows though. If you are going to unzip something in Linux, it will go for .tar, .gz, or for Mac it's something else. I don't know. I have no idea. So now let's make a file called app. We need to have include an extension called .py. As you can see, it already interpreted as Python. So now we are gonna click enter, and it will open our first file. Now what I am gonna do is just write a line of code and then explain it to you, because you just need to see how it works and then explain. And this is where the point, you start out with your coding journey and learning things, how they work and such thing. But when you're learning the first thing, which is really important, you just need to see how it works and then how it is compared to others and things. But since in this video we're gonna cover three topics, as I haven't told you yet, we're gonna cover print statements for basic outputting, comments in code for making it readable, and when someone else reads your code, how can they understand, and also we'll learn about the operators like in maths. So we'll look at them one by one at step. So now we're gonna see how to output a basic thing. So, but by the way, since we are having a Python file, we'll run it through the command line. But don't worry, we don't have to open this command app again. We'll just go control and the back tick in the left of one to toggle the terminal. And for Mac, it'll be command the back tick. So we have kept it open. I'll just resize it, and yeah. So now what I'm gonna do right is for basic outputting, well, just to write one line of code for the basic outputting. Print for like when you are taking a printout from a printer, it works like that. So one sec, my extension is disturbing. No, so now see, now I have written print. Now we need to add parentheses, open parenthesis and close parenthesis. As editors have the support, when you open a parenthesis, it will always add the ending parenthesis for you. Okay, so now what you're gonna do, as you can see, VS Code provides a documentation how the things work, but we'll cover each one. So now we'll go in the middle of parentheses, open and close quotes, and then we'll write hello world and an exclamation mark. Now you might ask what hello world is. So hello world is like saying hello as a developer. When you're starting out, it's the nomenclature for a nomenclature for starting out as a developer. It's the thing first thing you write in your code when you start learning something or some language. Now since we have written this program, you need to save it. Since I have auto save on, I don't need to use it. And then what you're gonna do is go to this terminal, and when you open this, it will automatically take you to the folder where you have this file located, and then you need to go there and type python. As you can see, we have opened the REPL in the last video for demonstrating if Python is installed. We don't want to open the REPL, we just type Python and the syntax is file name. So here the file name for us is app.py. You need to always include the extension, otherwise you will get confused with other files. If you have with the same name but different extension still. Now you need to type python app.py and hit enter. As you can see, it prints out the hello world. Now you might ask, why does this hello world only get printed instead of this complete? So let me explain. This parenthesis denotes the functions which we'll cover in the later videos. A function is a piece of code which is reused in the later parts. You might not understand it immediately, but you'll surely understand. Then we open and close the quotes for showing a string. So in programming, there are some data types like integer for storing values like 1, 2, 3, the values which you can count with your finger. Even 1000 is an integer. Another type is float, which contains decimals like 10.1 or 20.9 or maybe 39.6, such things. And what is a string? A string is a piece of text or a block of text. Like this is a block of text which is can be typed in normal ASCII keyboard or even the Unicode. Like if you wanna type an emoji, you wanna go for window and period. It's a shortcut for Windows. The emoji menu comes up and I'll just type 9. As I told you, Python supports Unicode. So it'll add it. Give me a sec. I don't think it's added. There's some problem. One sec. Add it here. Yes, as you can see, it has been added. Now what I'll do is python app.py to run the file again. But remember, you have always we have to always save the file before running it. As you can see, it gives me the emoji as the output. As I told you, Python supports Unicode. And once again, Unicode are the characters which cannot be normally typed with the ASCII keyboard, or they aren't available by default in the normal keyboard. Like as you can see, I had to toggle a different menu to access the emojis, but remember, it's not a part of the normal keyboard. Alright, so as you can see, we have understood the basic things, how the print thing is working, what the syntax is like: print, open the parentheses and close the parentheses, then open a quote and close the quote and type the text you want to print. Like let's say I want to type hello there, welcome, hello there, welcome. I'm gonna print this. Now what I'll do is python app.py. See, as you can see, it prints whatever I want. Even the spaces are included. It isn't counted as a different string or different piece of text. So I think you have got this thing, how the print statements work. Now what you're gonna see is like printing some numbers to the output console. As you can see, this is places the console or the terminal. So let's print some. Now if you wanna print let's say 1. As you can see, I haven't included the quotes. I have just included the number which we want to print. And let's run. Yeah, as you can see, it is printed 1. But what if we print with the quotes? See, as you can see, it still prints 1. But you might ask, what's the difference of the two? So let me show you. What I'll do is print type. As you can see, I have explained the 3 types: integer, float, and string. Now I want to pass the number or the text. So I have typed first 1, and now we'll check the type of the variable. As you can see, it gives me class int. Int is short for integer. But what if we pass it between the quotes? So quotes and then inside it 1. Okay, so as you can see, it changes. Well, as I told you, when you include something inside quotes, it becomes a string. Where area, if you use a number only instead of the normal ASCII characters or the letters in the alphabet, it becomes a string. And always remember, if you're trying to do this without quotes, you're trying to type A. As you can see, it gives me an error. Undefined name A, undefined variable A. So basically it can't understand what A is. And if you run it, name A is not defined. As you can't normally print any text character or the alphabet character in excluding the numbers without quotes. You always need to include quotes. Now try running it. Okay, sorry, I have to remove this type thing. Let me remove the extra parentheses and we are good to go. As you can see, it prints me. Now same goes for the floating point numbers or the decimal numbers. Let's print 12.4. Let's print. Yay! As you can see, it works. But if you are gonna try and type hinted, as you can see, I included type variable and print. See, as you can see, it gives me float. So float is the decimal or floating point numbers which have a the period in the middle of it or somewhere. I mean, if you try to do this, if you are trying to do 0.12.4, which is not a decimal number or something like invalid decimal number, if you try running it, as you can see, it gives me invalid syntax. So Python basically thinks that it's a mistake by you. When you get a syntax error, you have done a mistake somewhere in the code and you have to fix it. So I'll just go ahead and remove this dot, or maybe I'll keep it and I'll remove this dot. And now try to print it. It gives him float. I remove the type, I remove the extra parentheses, and yeah, as you can see, it gives me print. Alright, so I hope you have understood how the strings and floats work with print, and now I'm gonna show you a new thing. So I'm gonna print hello world. Okay, and then I want to print. Remember, if you use caps here, it'll just give an error because Python is not case Python is case sensitive. So the capital print P and the small p differs in the name conventions. Now I'm gonna try hello. Okay, I have to include the codes. Hello world. I don't want to print world. I want to print again. Now let's print it. Okay, so as you can see, we get in 2 lines since we have printed in 2 lines. But you might wanna say, let's say we change this hello again to welcome here. Now output this. As you can see, welcome here goes to the new line. But what do I want? I want this 2 lines to be in the same line. So basically what happens when you always print something, Python always adds a slash n. Slash n is the new line. So basically what it does is move the cursor from here to this part. So it goes to the next line. But what if we want to print in the same line? So Python has an argument or functions which will cover in the functions part, which will be coming soon once we cover up the basics. So how do you use the? We put a comma and put end. Just remember the syntax for now. We'll be looking into deep how these things work. end equals to, now open a quote and add a space. As you can see, I've opened the quote, added a space, and then closed the quote. Now try running it. As you can see, it gets its output in the first line. Yay, we have successfully combined the two print statements into a single line. And now you might be asking, what if we don't give the space? We just open and close the quotes immediately. See, as you can see, this two differs. Here there is a space, but here the space doesn't exist, hence making it not clearly readable or easy to read. So hence we always add a space between things so it can be easily read. And then we are good to go for now. Now let's explore into comments. Hey there, now let's explore comments now. So since you're in the comments, let's say I shared this piece of code to someone, but he doesn't understand what this does. So how do I explain it to him? So what I will do is go to this end of this line and add a hash, and then I'll add this line prints hello world with no new line at end. And now you might ask, this will give an error. Sorry, this is some linting. So basically a linter is something that makes your code more readable or easier to read for others. So basically I have added two space. So don't worry, you might not have a linter installed, so it's not an issue. So basically I added a hashtag. This line prints hello world. Now you might ask, wouldn't this render an error of syntax error? I mean, I have done a code. This isn't pure Python and this might not be understood by the Python interpreter, isn't it? So, in that place you're wrong. What happens when we add a hashtag? The text or the things which we add is just ignored. It's just ignored after that. So let's try running it. As you can see, it never printed this thing or threw an error. So Python thinks, since it's starting with an hashtag, I must just ignore it and go to the next line. So it ignores this part and goes here. I mean, if I just cut it and go add a line above and print it. So now you must ask, it's taking a whole line. Now it might try throwing an error, but still it won't throw an error because whenever it sees an hashtag, it will just ignore everything after that, no matter what happens. See, the same output still comes. Wherever I add this, I'll add one more comment. This will print welcome here. And even if I run, see, the same output is just a way of telling others what this code does without making the compiler or the interpreter go nuts, saying this error is here, fix this, or saying that error. So it's a way of saying that this is a code and this is how it works. If I do this, if I wanna do this, if let's say if comments didn't exist and I add brackets and this will print. As you can see, this makes it looks ugly, isn't it? I mean, people won't like it. I mean, they don't want to know what this does or what they do. The people who basically use it just want to use it. They don't want to know what happens in the back end of the program, isn't it? So I hope we have got this comments thing and how they work. Now we'll go move to the operator section. Operations with the numbers, the addition operator, multiplication operator which you learn in maths. Alright, so let's move on to the next part. Hey everyone, welcome to the operator section. Here what we're gonna cover is the operators. So let me remove all the code and we'll start from scratch. So let's start. So as you can see, we can print a number with like this without adding a quotes since Python interprets. But let's say I want to do some addition. So 1 plus 1. I want 2. Let's see. Yay. As you can see, it prints me 2. But what if I try doing this? I just literally put them between quotes. Now let's see if it gives me 2. Well, not really. As I said, when you input something inside the quotes, it'll just render it as it is without any changes or anything. So for now, I'll remove the quotes and keep it as 1 plus 1. 1 plus 1. Alright, so let's print it AI. It gives me 2. Now let's try something interesting. Now let's try to subtract two numbers. I'll ignore it and let's say I want to subtract 12 minus 13. Let's see what it gives. As you can see, it gives me minus 1, which is the correct answer. Now let's change this 13 to 9. Let's see what we get. As you can see, it gives me 13. Now let's try multiplication. Print and I multiply 4 asterisk. Asterisk is the multiplication operator for Python or any programming language. So 4, this is rendered as multiplied with 3. Let's try running it. Yay, as you can see, it gives me 12. Let's change the 4 to 9. It must give me 27, and yeah, it gives me as expected. Now let's try something fancy like division. Let's try division. 9 divided by 3, it must give me 3. Okay, so this gives me floating point. Now I might ask why. So let me say, when division is done between two numbers, it always gives a float in order to prevent any mistakes. Now let's say I replace this 3 by 4. Now what will it do? Now it's gonna give me 2.25, isn't it? I mean, it doesn't wanna give me an error that it's an integer, I can't divide it. So basically it returns me a decimal number after subtraction. But let's say I want an integer. I just want, when I divide 9 by 4, I just want the quotient but not the remainder. I just want the 2 part instead of adding the 2 points. So what I'll do is, the slash is the division operator, but when I'll just add a comment. Slash is the division operator and slash double slash is the integer division. So what does integer division does is, it just divides in a float manner and throws away this part after the decimal along with the decimal. So what I'll do, I'll add a space and let's run it. As you can see, it just gives me 2 instead of this 2.25. Okay, I hope this is kind of unclear. Let me zoom the thing. Hope it's readable now. Now we can continue. Now what we might try is something like, let's say when I print when I divide 9 by 4, I want the remainder. So what happens when we divide 9 by 4? It's completely divided 2 and we get remainder of 1. Okay, so I want the remainder of 1. But how do you get it? I mean, if we try 9 slash less 4, it still gives us 2, but not 1. So there's an operator called modulus or the remainder operator, which is denoted by this percentage. Percentage 9 percent 4. So now what it will do is give me the remainder when a number is divided by another. Now let's try, and yay, as you can see, it gives me 1. Now let's try 9 divided by 3. So we'll get 0 as the remainder and we get as expected. Now let's remove this part, and there's one more special operator called the exponential. Now we have just talked of 2 into 2. That's 4. Never mind. What I'll do is 2 and multiplied by 3. It must give me 6, and it does give me 6. But what if I want to do this? 2 raised to the power 3, that is 2 into 2 into 3. So basically 2 multiplied with itself for 3 times. So there's an operator called 2 double star double asterisk 3. Now what will give me? As you can see, it's the exponential operator which gives me the exponent when 2 is raised to the power 3. So it's the last operator which is in Python. Now I might show something interesting. Let's see the multiplication operator again. Sorry for this. Let's do this. Print 2 to the power 9. Alright. So what it's gonna give me, sorry for this. So what it's gonna give me is 18. It gives me 18, right? Now let's say I have a string. Hello. I wanna get it printed like this. Hello, 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 and hello. So as you can see, hello is repeated 5 times, isn't it? Hello is repeated 5 times. But I don't want to repeat this. As a matter of fact, programming concepts have a principle called DRY. D-R-Y. Don't repeat yourself. You must never copy and paste code. You just need to reuse something if you have, or just make it reusable so you don't repeat anything. So I'll do hello. I'll just extract the part which is being repeated, space, asterisk and 5. I'm just multiplying the string with 5. So what it will give me is the final string. As you can see, it prints hello 5 times. So basically it multiplies it into 5 times and it gives the output. Isn't it an amazing thing? This is the unique feature and unique simplicity of Python, which really makes it easiest for everyone to learn. So hence I hope that you have understood the three things: printing, strings, floats and decimals, the types in simple word, and also the operators and comments, how they work and things, where can you use them. So this was just a basic session demonstrating how you can write your first line of code, how can you use various things, multiplication, subtraction, isn't it? So I guess you have learned these things of doing in the Python in a really easy manner. So I hope you have understood this and you have liked it. So if you like this video, be sure to like this video, and if you haven't subscribed yet, click on the subscribe button and stay updated whenever I post a new video. So I hope everything's packed up for today. Let's meet in the next session of Python part 3. See you for next time.